This is the VOA Special English Development Report. Americans bought an estimated 18.5 million bicycles last year. Some bikes never got much riding. Mostly they gather dust. But a project based in Washington is putting unwanted bikes from the United States to good use in developing countries. Keith Oberg is the director of Bikes for the World. He says everybody has an old bicycle, and it is usually not ridden. It sits there in the garage or basement or shed, going to waste. Stephen Popick recently had 2 bikes to donate. He brought in 2 mountain bikes that he and his wife rode for the past 10 years. He said they would not be worth trying to sell, but they could be useful to somebody else. Bikes for the World collects bicycles and delivers them at low cost to community programs in developing countries. It shipped more than 5,000 bikes during the first 8 months of this year. Last year, it shipped about 10,300. The bicycle recycling program is one of the largest in the United States. It is a sponsored project of the Washington Area Bicyclist Association. Bikes for the World began in 2005. Since then, it has shipped more than 40,000 bikes to communities in Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, says Director Keith Oberg. He said they are working with partners in 7 countries. They have sent bikes to Namibia and the Gambia. In Central America, they sent bikes to Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Guatemala. And they are talking to 2 organizations in El Salvador. Bikes for the World partners with non-profit groups in the United States to collect unwanted bikes. Then it works with non-profits in the other countries to get the bikes to organizations and individuals that need them the most. For example, the Bicycle Empowerment Network, Namibia, uses the bikes to provide transportation for health workers. That makes it possible for them to visit more patients each day. The organization also has bicycle ambulance services to transport the sick. The Bicycle Empowerment Network also provides training and support to help local organizations and individuals open bike shops of their own. The businesses sell the recycled bikes at low cost and provide repair services. Many of the organizations use the money they earn to help pay for other community projects. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report.
I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Development Report. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has announced a plan to get cleaner burning cooking stoves into developing countries. The plan aims to reduce deaths caused by smoke from the traditional use of solid fuels and open fires. Almost half the world's people breathe smoke from coal and biomass fuels like wood, dung, and crop waste. The smoke can lead to lung cancer, heart disease, low birth weight, and other problems. It also increases the risk of pneumonia, a leading cause of death in young children. Women and children are most at risk because they spend the most time in the kitchen. Also, in areas of conflict, the search for fuel puts women at increased risk of violence. The goal of the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves is 100 million homes using safer cook stoves and fuels by the year 2020. Secretary Clinton said that clean stoves could make as big a difference in the world as bed nets or vaccines. She said, "The World Health Organization considers smoke from dirty stoves to be one of the 5 most serious health risks that face people in poor developing countries. Nearly 2 million people die from its effects each year, more than twice the number from malaria. And because the smoke contains greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, as well as black carbon, it contributes to climate change." Founding partners in the alliance include governments and United Nations agencies, nonprofit groups, and the energy company Shell. The alliance hopes to raise at least $250 million within 10 years. The United States has promised to donate more than $50 million over the next 5 years. The aim is to create a strong global market for clean cook stoves. The alliance will identify target markets and work to get women involved in business operations. It will also develop indoor air quality guidelines, test clean stoves and fuels, and develop research roadmaps. The United States Environmental Protection Agency has donated $6 million towards the effort. EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson says the problem of cook stove pollution is really an issue of poverty. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. You can read and listen to our programs and learn more about projects in the developing world at voaspecialenglish.com.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report. On May 20th, a tornado brought death and destruction to the American community of Moore, Oklahoma. The tornado had wind speeds of up to 400 kilometers an hour. 24 people died when the storm cut through the city. People had only 15 minutes to react to warnings. Some fled Moore or took refuge in the most secure area of their home. The lucky ones took cover in underground shelters or steel and concrete structures called safe rooms. Leslie Chapman Henderson is head of a nonprofit group called the Federal Alliance for Safe Homes. She is a big supporter of tornado-safe rooms. She says they can help reduce the number of tornado deaths. A safe room is built to resist high winds and flying wreckage. Sky Strohall survived the tornado in Moore. He watched as it moved in his direction. He and a friend ran to a neighbor's underground shelter only minutes before the storm struck. Better methods for predicting storms give people like Sky Strohal and his friend more time. But they need someplace safe to go. Structures can be built to resist strong winds, but not all structures may be able to resist a tornado as strong as the one that hit Moore. It was rated F5, the highest possible rating. Moore lies in an area of the United States called Tornado Alley. Powerful storm systems are common. The tornado in May was the fourth to strike the city in 14 years. Moore's mayor is pushing for laws requiring safe rooms in all new buildings. Similar proposals followed other tornado strikes, but no laws were passed. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report in Special English. The United States Environmental Protection Agency says there is a problem with America's garbage. Only 7% of plastic waste in the United States is recycled each year. JBI, a new company in northern New York, says it can increase that percentage and, at the same time, reduce America's dependence on foreign oil. How? The answer may surprise you. JBI has a machine it calls the Plastic Eating Monster. Every hour, thousands of kilograms of waste milk jugs, water bottles, and grocery bags from landfills across the country are fed into the machine. John Bordnick, who runs the company, invented a new process for turning plastic into fuel by melting all these different kinds of plastics together. John Bordnick says the plastics are melted down into a black liquid. Then he uses a special chemical to turn the fluid into a vapor. This reduces the plastic to its most basic elements. These basic elements have a very high fuel value. JBI produces several thousand liters of fuel a day. It creates different grades of fuel for different industries, and it sells the fuel for up to $100 a barrel. JBI is in a good position because each barrel only costs about $10 to produce. John Bordnick believes plastics will become an important source of fuel for the United States. He says this will reduce the country's dependence on foreign oil and reduce the amount of plastic waste in its landfills. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Prasuti.